Okay, so I'm going to do something a bit different rather than talk about a particular incubator, which I'll focus on at the end. But just to build on some information we gave at the last presentation, the latest trends for us are that more and more people want to start their own business. 85,000 people started their own company in 2020, which was a record year. But more recently, in the last week, it's been announced that we have high vacancy rate in the UK. Employers are now desperate to recruit people, and there's not enough of them. So I'm wondering if some of those people that started businesses may decide to go back and work for a company instead this year, which seems to be a likely trend now that companies are reopening. And in the 5 months to this year, there were 348,000 new incorporations and 126,000 closed businesses, which means we had a net growth in the first 4 months of 222,000 new businesses, which is just incredible, really. Right, I'm going to try and click on now. So taking into account the drivers for change using the Pestel model, which we're all familiar with, the technological speed of change in the last 18 months has been absolutely awesome. So we now have things like software applications like Slack, where you can mimic incubators online. And I noticed my Andalusia colleague talked about outdoor incubators, which is a very good idea, I thought. We've got lots of, most of the businesses that start up in this country at the moment are at the lower end of the scale, not such high-tech businesses that would be looking for incubator space like our Polish colleagues talked about earlier. But for incubators, there are challenges. There have been challenges before COVID in recruiting people to go to them, even though they have fantastic facilities and services. So Peter said to me, my colleague, typical startups, that type of businesses looking for incubation facilities rather than premises lockups or no premises needed. In other words, are incubators a vital part of the one-stop shop service for a typical startup business now? Are they vital, or can people manage without them? Is there a need for them? And that's a kind of question that we put to everyone to consider. Because we were doing it before, do we do it now? Right, so there are different types of startup incubators in the UK, just like my colleagues. We've got commercial incubators, the private public sector models, which are combined funding. We've got purely public sector models, university models, and university science parks. So the commercial models that are offered, incubator models like shared office firms like WeWork, the international company that I think has gone bust subsequently. It grew phenomenally in the last year, but it's gone bust, I think. We've got IWG and BasePoint, which is a national business park incubator scheme up and down the country. And we've got 2 local premises for them here. We've got an example of the public-private sector models is Barclays Bank Eagle Labs, which have really high-tech, fantastic facilities and services that they open along with local councils. So they've partnered with Southampton City Council to create this lab and support entrepreneurs and businesses within Southampton. They offer daily passes, monthly passes. They give all sorts of added on services like all the other incubators that we've heard about, co-working facilities, events, mentoring, makerspace, meeting space, laser cutter, 3D printing, introduction to investors. There is absolutely nothing that these labs miss out on. Anybody that goes there will get a completely full service. So some of the examples of public sector incubators include one that's opened up by the Local Enterprise Partnership in Basingstoke, which they had trouble filling the space for, even though the facilities were brilliant before COVID. We've got our local council that's funded a startup incubator, and they outsourced all the operational activities to do with it because that's not their expertise. And of course, we've got the Aldershot Enterprise Centre, which our colleagues came to back in 2019, I think it was, when they came to visit Hampshire. And that's going really well. And that was funded by Covenant because it's a former military base. And since COVID, we've had a huge increase in inquiries for spaces there, partly because more people are starting their own business, and partly because some of the national companies are now having satellite offices. Instead of having an office in London, they're having satellite offices across the country so that people can travel more easily. So they're doing really well. But that kind of incubator business park is at the kind of easier option of startups rather than the very, very high-tech startups. So university incubators, we've got things like Solent Creatives, which my colleagues came to visit when they came to Hampshire, which is a scheme set up to help students get the business skills and freelancing skills they need to be able to start their own business, along with getting their degree when they leave the university. We've got a startup campus in Portsmouth University and Purple Door, which do similar things. And in the, I don't know how that happened. We've got in Southampton, we've got a science park, which is set up a scheme called Catalyst Business Accelerator, which I'm going to talk a bit more about in detail here. So basically, the science park had some funding from government to set up an accelerator incubator scheme. So I can, and it's a unique opportunity for budding entrepreneurs with early stage science and technology businesses to get the support they need to propel them towards becoming tomorrow's trailblazers. So basically, it's a competition where entrepreneurs bid for a place on a very high level scheme, which is completely free, and incubator facilities. So it started in 2012. It was originally funded by the government to speed up commercialization of spin-outs, because as we know, a few years back, it was taking a long time to get them to commercialization. When the money ran out from government, it was actually funded by the science park from the revenue and profits arising from the companies located on there. They thought it was such a good scheme that they had to continue it, even though there wasn't government funding. But now, because it's successful, it's now attracted funding from local council economic development teams. So they're helping to fund the scheme. So what is it? It's a kind of competition accelerator incubator scheme designed to help fast track innovation-led businesses in the Solent region, fully funded for successful applicants. And unlike similar schemes, there's absolutely no stake or intellectual property taken by any party involved in the program. So that remains the privilege of the business that is there. They don't have to sell part of it or give part of it away. So entrepreneurs retain all equity in their business. So it's an intensive 6-month program. Businesses are expected to attend at least once a week, probably more if they can. It's a program of high-level mentoring and workshop learning with world-class business mentors, and seriously world-class business mentors, equipped with the tools and connections needed to drive your business forward. So all kinds of workshops, learning programs, as well as specific help with that particular business. Free desk space plus a prestigious Southampton Science Park business address, which always goes down if you're trying to attract investors, and opportunities to network with its innovation community for the duration of the program. Plus, there's a small bursary for travel expenses. So it's a once-a-year application process. It was 8 companies that got involved in it. It's now increased to 10, and it's a 6-month program with a September start. So the application process is very simple. They ask them 4 basic questions, which we ask businesses, all businesses, no matter what they're trying to apply for. What's the need addressed by your business? What's your unique approach? What are the specific benefits from your approach? And how are the benefits superior to the competition? So why should we buy from you, basically? And it's a panel selection. And as I say, it's been extremely successful in attracting some very, very good businesses. And the results speak for themselves. So over the years it's been running, it's a very small scheme, which probably is part of its success, to be honest. It's an accelerated progress for 65 companies, boosting their chance of success regardless of the economic climate. Participant companies have secured over £25 million in funding and 130 jobs for the region. And the model itself has proven to be successful. And there's a link there to a YouTube video to explain a bit more about it. So that's really a summary of the different types of incubator schemes that we've got in Hampshire, and how things have changed. And I think some questions about have things changed since COVID, and a bit of focus on a particular scheme, very small scheme, but very successful, on the Catalyst scheme at Southampton Science Park, run by the university. And that's it. Any questions?